The trade station drifted at the edge of a dying star, its hull bathed in crimson light that pulsed like a fading heartbeat. Every rotation brought another groan from the ancient structure, metal protesting centuries of survival. Captain Elias Ward stepped off his freighter, boots ringing against the plated deck, and immediately felt the shift. Conversations dipped. Eyes followed him. Humans always caused that reaction. The station was neutral ground, technically. In practice, neutrality bent easily under fear. Species from a dozen systems crowded the market ring, their voices layered in clicks, hums, and synthetic translations. Elias adjusted the strap of his utility pack and moved forward anyway. His ship, Wayward Sun, had limped in on reserve power. If he didn't secure fuel and rations here, he wouldn't make the next jump. The war between the Coalition and the Terran Compact had shredded trust along with trade routes. Independent captains like Elias lived between accusations, blamed by both sides for crimes they hadn't committed. Humans, especially, carried a reputation sharpened by rumor. Predators. Conquerors. Eaters. He stopped at the first stall, run by a shelled merchant whose limbs withdrew the moment Elias spoke. The second vendor refused to meet his gaze. The third activated a security field before Elias finished his request. By the fourth rejection, whispers followed him openly. Human digestion can dissolve bone. They consume enemies to intimidate rivals. They smile while hunting. Elias exhaled slowly and forced his shoulders to relax. Panic only made things worse. He reached the far end of the market where a smaller stall stood half-shadowed, its owner barely visible behind stacked crates. She was slight, barely chest-high to him, with luminous eyes that reflected the red star above. Her species, Nyari, if Elias remembered correctly, were known for precision trade and brutal honesty. "You've been turned away 4 times, she said calmly, translator rendering her voice clear and melodic. "You're either desperate or foolish." "Usually both," Elias replied. "Name's Elias. I need fuel cells, protein packs, and a recycler membrane." Her fingers paused. Slowly, she looked up at him fully. "You're human," she said. "Not an accusation. A calculation." "I am." She tilted her head. "Then before I sell you anything, I need to ask something." Elias nodded. He already knew the question. Her eyes narrowed, unblinking. "Is it true," she asked quietly, "that humans eat anyone who can't stop them?" Elias leaned against the stall's support beam, careful to keep his hands visible. "That depends," he said lightly, "on who's telling the story." The Nyari didn't laugh. "They say your species conquered its world by consuming everything weaker than itself," she continued. "That you celebrate the killing of other life with festivals." Elias scratched his jaw. "We celebrate survival. Food tends to be involved." Her posture stiffened. "So it's true." "Parts of it," he admitted. "We're omnivores. We eat plants. We eat animals. We adapt. That's kind of our thing." The word animals rippled through nearby listeners. A few merchants slowed their work. Fear traveled faster than reason. "You hunted your own world into extinction cycles," she pressed. "Your history shows cruelty masked as necessity." "That's also true," Elias said evenly. "And it's one of our greatest regrets." She studied him closely, as if expecting anger. Instead, she found exhaustion. "What about now?" she asked. "What stops you from doing the same out here?" Elias straightened. "Choice." A soft hiss moved through the growing crowd. "We learned the hard way that intelligence changes everything," he continued. "Once a being can reason, build culture, understand consequence, hunting stops. Full stop. But you decide what counts as intelligent," an insectoid voice clicked from behind. Elias turned. "We used to," he said. "And we were wrong. That's why we don't get to make that call anymore. Sapience is the line. We don't cross it." The Nyari's fingers tightened around the counter. Coalition footage shows humans raising creatures, naming them, then slaughtering them. "Livestock," Elias replied. "Non-sapient. Bred over thousands of years for food. It's not kindness. It's efficiency. You give them affection." "Some of us do," he admitted. "Humans are bad at emotional boundaries." That earned a flicker of something like confusion. "If one of those creatures became sapient," she asked. "Then we'd stop," Elias said immediately. No debate. No delay. Silence fell heavier than the station's artificial gravity. "You speak as if restraint defines you," she said slowly. "Yet your species is feared for its violence." Elias met her gaze. "Both can be true." She considered that. Finally, she extended one slender hand. "I am Kira." He shook it gently. Elias, I will sell to you, Kira said. But I want honesty. Why does the galaxy terrify itself over humans? Elias looked around the station, at the scars, the armed guards, the unspoken histories. Because, he said quietly, we're very good at surviving. And when survival turns into war, we don't lose easily. Word spread fast. A human speaking calmly instead of threateningly drew attention like gravity. Soon, a loose circle formed around Kira's stall. Some watched with curiosity, others with naked fear. You admit you are killers, a Quell scholar said, pushing forward. His carapace bore age marks and academic sigils. Your history is soaked in blood. Elias nodded. So is yours. A murmur followed. The Quell expansion wars, Elias continued. The Nyari resource purges. The hive collapse. Every species here has skeletons. Ours just learned to speak. That doesn't make you trustworthy, the scholar snapped. No, Elias agreed. Our actions do. You're at war even now, someone shouted. Not me, Elias said. I haul freight. I trade. I don't conquer. Yet your people might. So might yours, Elias replied. The difference is we talk about it. We argue about it. We punish it. Kira watched him carefully as she packed supplies into containers. You expect us to trust that? She asked. I expect you to watch us, Elias said. Judge us by what we do next, not what we did centuries ago. The scholar's eyes narrowed. And if your survival depends on breaking that promise? The question hung sharp and deliberate. Elias didn't answer immediately. When humans were starving on our own world, he said slowly, we learned something important. Survival without restraint destroys the future. You're saying you'd rather die, Kira said, than cross certain lines. I'm saying, Elias corrected, we'll tear the universe apart looking for another way first. The crowd shifted. Fear didn't vanish, but it softened, reshaped. Kira sealed the final crate. Payment. Double rate. Elias transferred the credits without hesitation. As he loaded the grav cart, the scholar spoke once more. Your words are impressive, human. They're cheap, Elias said. That's why I'm here instead of pointing weapons. One by one, the crowd dispersed. Not convinced, but no longer screaming. Kira stopped him before he left. One final question, she said softly. Elias turned. If you were starving, she asked, voice barely above the station's hum, and I was the only living thing left, would you eat me? Every sound seemed to vanish. Elias felt the weight of the moment settle like pressure against his ribs. He looked at Kira, not as a merchant, not as an alien, but as a person waiting to see if fear was justified. No, he said. Some gasped. If I were starving, Elias continued, I'd eat algae from filters. I'd chew insulation. I'd burn my boots and drink the ash. Kira's eyes widened. I'd do anything, he said, except that. Even if you died? Especially then. She stared at him, stunned. Why? Because once we cross that line, Elias said quietly, we stop being survivors. We become something worse. The silence broke slowly, like ice thawing. You humans, Kira said, a faint smile forming, are terrifying. Elias grinned. Absolutely. But not, she added, the way we were told. He nodded, pulling the grav cart toward the docks. Stories like simple monsters. Truth is Messier. As he walked away, the red star flared weakly behind the station. Still dying, still burning. Humanity, Elias thought, was much the same. Stubborn. Dangerous. And still trying to be better,